Okay, so there's a new viral phenomenon known as the lazy girl job. It's described as a cushy gig that consists of tasks that aren't very demanding, like emailing.
Oh, okay.
And it's definitely a role that doesn't require too much overtime. So it's important to clarify that this trend doesn't mean you're lazy or bad at your job. Apparently, it's more so an anti-girl boss mentality when it comes to your career. Taking your job just to pay your bills rather than making your entire life about your career. So what do you think about the lazy girl trend?
Some real support in the audience. I mean, for me, growing up, this would have been unthinkable. I was raised, and I think many people are of this generation, where it didn't matter if it was the crappiest job in the world with the crappiest boss, you worked your butt off, and you just did that because I think the mentality was it's a building block to future careers. You need to establish young what your work ethic is, and for the way I was raised is that it has to be really, really strong, or you're gonna be screwed in life. I think now this is an interesting flip on that, where it's like it's an act of quiet rebellion. And I think there's something to that, right? That if you're gonna save your energy and your stress level for your own maybe private side hustle, then that's actually quite empowering. My worry is that if I was a small business owner and I hired somebody who's, I mean, we're saying it's not a negative thing, but if you're putting in the bare minimum, is that person ever going to get ahead? Are you, as an employer, ever going to see that person and be like, you are invaluable to my organization? I don't know. Maybe that doesn't matter anymore. Maybe everyone's gonna be their own self-made person. But is that realistic?
I don't know. I feel like the pendulum swings hard, right? Like you said, we're the generation that worked our tail off. Our parents would never let us in the house if we came in and we were just pulling the bare minimum at our jobs. But I do understand the sentiment of this younger generation because they've seen our generation whine so much about how we are so underpaid, undervalued, underappreciated. We are just here to make money for the man. We're not appreciated. What about us? So I get the pendulum swing, but as someone who's raising a daughter, you're working for so many years in your life. Am I really raising a kid to be like, no, your job doesn't have to be your whole life? And that's true, but jobs for your whole life to live like that, that's a long time to not be in a place or doing something that is challenging you, making you evolve, helping you reach your dreams. So I think there's a middle ground, but social media doesn't like middle ground, right? No. We like over here or way over there. So it's either lazy or you're working your tail off. I think there's a happy medium to be found.
I think I love this because in a sense I feel like they have lifted up the curtain to something that we're all hinting on here, like the idea that you get a job, you work really hard, you get a house, you get a car, you get a family, and you find fulfillment. So why are there thousands of books if you go into a bookstore telling you how to find happiness? Because we're all empty and alone. That the idea of this dream is dead, and this generation sees it, and they're one step further. They know that, yes, they can work for this paycheck, but that paycheck is not even gonna buy them a house. It's not even gonna buy them a car. But you know what? In the time when they're not getting that paycheck, they can live well. I love it. I think they can. They don't make, they use that paycheck, they do exactly what they were hired to do and nothing more.
I don't know. I love what you're saying, Jess, but I think for a certain amount of time, yes, absolutely. You should not be a slave to your work. But if you want to go on a nice vacation,
But their idea
is
even if they get double their paycheck, they still won't be able to go on a nice vacation, or they'll have to, decide to make. They're never going to get the things that we have defined as happiness, the things that will fulfill us, the American dream, so to speak. I think it's dead.
Lainey,
they're never going to get it.
Well, I was going to ask you a question. Do you think there's a reason why there's no such thing as a lazy guy trend we're hearing about? We're not hearing about the lazy guy trend.
Yeah.
Because
they're out there.
I know what that's about.
I don't love that, and I do think that this attitude actually applies to anyone of any gender. I do think that it's not just women who are applying this attitude. I do think that it's a generation, a full generation, not just women. And I also think that I am one of the people who, listen, I'm leaving this job and I still have 3. Right? Like, I am conditioned in that space. It's really, really hard for me not to work as hard as I can and maybe work over hard and not be appreciated, as you said. But you were the one a few years ago, maybe like the second year of the pandemic, Cynthia, who said to me, I think you heard it from somebody else, and you said to me it was about somebody that you know who had left their job, who left a longstanding job with a corporation. And the person said, you know what I realized in leaving this job?
Remember this.
I loved this company.
Yep.
But I only just realized that this company will never love me back. And the day you said that to me, it just started to, I think about that every day. And I think about a new generation of people applying that to their jobs. Does this job love me as much as I love this job? It doesn't have to be the job loves you more than you love it. But for a long time, we loved our jobs more than that company ever loved us. So when is it gonna be 50-50?
Yeah. It's very interesting. I'm just gonna tie this up by saying, you know, when I first heard about this, because I have a lot of friends who are in management and own companies, and they are complaining bitterly about this generation. They cannot find anybody to come and do the work, and she's very frustrated. And when she was telling me about all the things that, you know, this woman who's a boss, all the things that were happening in her workspace, I got angry for her, because I'm like, no, I didn't get paid. I was mistreated. I overworked. I was never, and it was called paying your dues, by the way. They made you feel like this is what you have to do in order to get to the successful spot. And then I stopped and like, why am I so irritated? I'm irritated because I am jealous. I am jealous that this generation has the guts to go, I'm not doing it.
Yes.
You're not paying me that. I need my mental health day. And in our time, we didn't have the guts to do that. We never had the courage to do that. So I realize that anger that I'm having towards them is because I am jealous that I did not do that, because it would have saved me a lot of time, because a lot of that paying dues did not pay off in the way I thought it was, which left me frustrated and angry, which I think a lot of people are. So kudos to you guys. My hat's off. Do it. Lazy girl your way. I'm gonna figure it out.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.